What's up, YouTube? Knight's Edge here again. Got a pretty cool review for you here today. This one was sent to me by none other than Carco. I actually bought it from Carco, so this one's mine now. Really appreciate the deal that Carco gave me on it. Gave me a pretty sweet deal. Pretty awesome knife. Carco has a ton of bruisers. I would call this a borderline bruiser. You know, it's a little short, chubby kind of bruiser, but kind of bruiser-esque nonetheless. Medford Knife and Tools. Medford knives made all USA by Greg Medford. They do a lot of interactive stuff for the knife community, and he's got a lot of really cool models. Kind of like goes for that big tanky kind of chunky overbuilt look in general. So this one is a smaller version of the Medford Praetorian. This one is the Medford Praetorian Genesis T. Pretty cool knife. Get a nice little close-up of it there. Got the 9 right there, which signifies S90V for their blade steel. They kind of have codes for their blade steel. 4 for S45N, D for D2, 9 for S90V, and quite a few others. But yeah, nice flame, kind of anno, I guess you would call it right there on the show side scale. Bronze on that titanium. All titanium on the scales anyway. Bronze on the clip side. Man, I can't talk. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll do what we always do. Get a nice overall measurement of it. Start there and go through the specs here. All right, so the Medford Praetorian Genesis T, smaller version of the Praetorian. This one goes around 7 3/4. I'm gonna call that, with the glass breaker on it going all the way to the end right there. If you end at the glass breaker, if you don't, you got 7 1/2 right there. So the glass breaker slash backspacer does kind of add a little bit to the length of the knife. Overall blade length, you're sitting around 3 1/2 inches. You go up to that 3 1/2 mark is right there where that choil meets up with the handle scale. And your overall cutting edge on this bad boy, you are sitting at 3 1/4. So if you measure it laterally like that, you got 3 1/4. Measure that secondary edge, you got 1 inch plus 2 1/2. So really, you got 3 1/2, right? If you measure it like that, because on a Tonto, you got to kind of treat those as 2 different edges, especially if you're sharpening. You can very easily make this on accident into a drop point if you sharpen it the wrong way. All right, so let's get a blade stock thickness check here. Let's see how thick this thing is. I'm kind of curious myself. That is 191 thousandths on that blade stock thickness. Super thick blade stock. Behind the edge on that secondary, you are looking at, let's see, I got a nice spot right there, 69 thousandths. And what I would call is the primary edge, longer edge anyway, right around 53 thousandths. So yeah, not not a slicer at all. I mean, it will slice, it will cut. You're sitting at 485 thousandths on the handle thickness, so not especially thick on the handle thickness. Not as thick as you know, you would think, going by the blade stock thickness there. Put the calipers over here on the side, if I can do that the right way. So yeah, all right, let's go ahead and do some size comparisons, man. This is the USA made Demco Knives 8020S up next to the Praetorian Genesis T. And I can open it without cutting my finger off, would be cool. That is the Demco Knives 8020.5, the slicer variant. So overall, you're looking pretty close to that 8020.5 in overall length. Definitely not as long as that 20S, but I mean, definitely has a lot broader of a blade, a lot thicker of blade stock for sure. That's your Spyderco knives, paramilitary 2, and your Spyderco knives pair of 3. All right. And a couple of more USA made classics right here. Chris Reeve Knives Umnenzon up next to the Praetorian Genesis T. And your Strider Knives SNG. All right, so both of them are, the Strider SNG is a little bit longer. The Umnenzon's definitely a little bit longer than the Praetorian Genesis T. Put away the Zon and the Strider there. Last but not least, another Medford. That is your Slim MIDI. All right, so compared to the Slim MIDI, which is another Medford, so pretty good direct comparison there, I think. In overall length, they are pretty similar. It actually, with the glass breaker, is maybe a hair longer than the Slim MIDI. But whenever you turn them this way, you can definitely tell the difference, right? The Slim MIDI, you know, it's a slim, right? MIDI. So definitely a lot thinner than the Praetorian Genesis T. The handle scales are a little bit thinner, a good little bit thinner. And the blade stock thickness is damn sure a good bit thinner. So I think that was a good size comparisons there with that Slim MIDI. This is your DeWalt framing hammer and your 8-inch USA made crescent wrench up next to it. Standard size comparisons on any knife channel, I would think, right, guys? Right, guys? All right. So let's go ahead, and this is going to be a fun part. Let's get a weight on this bad boy. I have weighed this thing before, but I forgot how much it weighs. In hand, I'm wanting to say this is a chunker, man. Not a whole lot of weight reduction going on here, and definitely super thick blade stock and thick handle scales. I'm wanting to say, I would say, oh man, around 8 ounces. Probably way off. Let's see how far off I am. Less than I thought. 6.5. So not super duper heavy. 6.7 ounces. So definitely double, right at double the ounce and inch ratio that some people go by. This is definitely not one I would recommend carrying with swimming trunks, gym shorts, something like that. It is a chunky, overbuilt folding knife for sure. Let's see how she goes in and out of the pocket. That pocket clip, I wish it was a little tighter actually, but it goes in and out of the pocket pretty fine. And this thing actually is heavy, so it sits in the pocket all right. That glass breaker, while not incredibly pointy, it's not like the Beowulf. It won't like really cut into your hand much, but it is there, and you can feel it if you take it in and out of the pocket enough. So definitely sits in the pocket just fine. Kind of comes in and out a little bit. Like I said, I really would like, and I can take this off probably and adjust this. I don't even know if they come like that. You know, this thing could have been disassembled, reassembled, whatever. I'm not the original owner of it, so I don't know. But you can see that gap right there, quite a good gap. Nothing sticking out though to snag your pants, so that's a good thing. And really nice looking pocket clip to boot, I would say. All right, let's go ahead. We'll do a hardware check at the T8 here. I don't even know if I'm going to need it, but I might. Let's see here. All right, so yeah, T8 on the body screws and pocket clip screws. I want to say T8 on the pocket clip. Maybe not. That might, shoot, it might be a T10 on the pocket clip. Let's see. I have to break out the T10 here. I can find it. Check out that pocket clip. Yep, T10. All right, so T10 on the pocket clip, T8 on the body screws. You do have that little disc for over travel protection right there on the frame lock. Over travel stop, I guess, as it were. The disc. I think that's a T6. Yeah, T6. So T6 on that disc, T8 on the body screws, and T10 on the pocket clip. So you're gonna need a range of stuff to take this apart, and you can use a spanner bit and kind of stick that in there if you want to take apart that kind of 6-gun pivot style that they got going on. Let's see right there. You know, you can just stick that, or you can get a larger spanner bit that goes wider. But a spanner bit will work to kind of tighten that up and disassemble it without any issues. So yeah, quite a good bit of hardware. Not the best knife as far as hardware goes. So that's pretty much it for specs. Now, what do I think about this one? Then this one is it is very chunky. It's a chunky, unnecessary knife, I think. I mean, you could take you could take the pair of 3. I mean, you could take let's see, let's go something. This is pretty expensive too, by the way, so let's go something super cheap like this. This is a Chinese made $10 Walmart knife, right? This thing probably slices a heck of a lot better than that, just for example. So it's not really about slicing capability, especially when you get into this kind of higher end production, USA made semi-small batch knives. Now these are, I don't know if you would call it small batch or not. They're pretty readily available on DLTtrading.com and some other places. So that's one good thing if you're looking for this one. They do have a few different variants of it. Very similar variant with the bronze Anno and S90V runs at $675. So they're definitely proud of their products over there at Medford Knife and Tool. Definitely, not ultra high prices, I wouldn't say, because I mean there are some others that think that that their products are worth a lot more than what in general the market would say. But people do buy these. People love them. There's Medford clubs and everything out there. Not a bad knife at all for collectability reasons, I don't think. And also it does function. I mean, this thing will slice paper. It will cut. It's just got some super ultra thick blade stock. I love that swedge down that they got right there coming off the flat on the primary edge, on the secondary edge, the separate one that's a little bit thicker. I really love that kind of I guess that's a staple of a lot of Medford knives, that fuller. That's pretty cool. Jimping up top is borderline uncomfortable, but you definitely know it's there, right? Whenever you got this in hand and you're choked back like this, you are pretty damn locked in and not going anywhere at all. You can kind of choke up a little bit on it, but you got to be careful not to put the meat of your finger on the edge of that knife right there. So I tend to kind of lean back more and like a trigger pull on that kind of tab right there. But that also doesn't feel too bad. So very coarse, very rough, overbuilt looking knife, and it is what I would call an overbuilt knife. It's chunky, chunkier than the majority of standard folding knives, I would say, but also a pretty cool knife and a good USA made solid knife, I would have to say for sure. And that is a big chunk of S90V steel as well. So I think that's pretty much it, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you did. Let me know in the comments for sure if you didn't. And subscribe if you're not already. Would love that. Subscribe to the channel right down below. Thanks all my viewers, Patreons, channel members. You guys are awesome. And remember, whether it's morning, evening, noon, or night, y'all stay sharp.